And here we go. Ceterum Britanniam qui mortales initio coluerint. So we start with but, ceterum. Who were the mortals, who were the people, coluerint, who inhabited Britain, initio, that's an ablative of initium, so it means in the beginning. Indigene, an means whether, advecti, so this is genitive, so are they of an indigenous nature or of being carried there, advecti, ut inter barbaros, as amongst the barbarians, compertum parum. That's from pars, which means it's like in golf, it's what you'd expect to get for a hole. So, compertum. This is it's discovered whether they were indigenous or whether they were brought there as you would expect amongst barbarians. Habitus corporum. Habitus is a fourth. So the outer appearance, corporum of their bodies, vari is various, and eo argumenta. And it can be argued ex eo from this. We'll have an early daily dictionary word. Habitus, fourth, external aspect, appearance, habit, disposition, character, physical or emotion condition, or dress or attire. So they made various arguments from the appearance of their bodies, whether they'd come from indigenous or they were taken there. There's just many arguments about it. Namqui, 4, Rutalia Caledonium habitantium come. Come and Rutilia go together, so 4 of the red hair, or it could just be a nominative. For the red hair, habitantium is a, from the NT you can see it's a present participle. So of those who are living in Caledonia, those who inhabit it, Caledonia, for their red hair, and magni artus. Artus is another fourth, so, and of their great limbs, limbs is artus. Germanic origin, they assert. So these people who are asserting that are people who are assuming this because of their red hair and their big limbs, that they come from Germany originally. Silurum, these are a people from the proper noun, even though it's starting a sentence. Colorati vultus, from the coloured faces of the, how do you pronounce that? It'd be silurs in English. Torte plerumqui, plerumqui is the adverb meaning generally. So from the coloured faces and their torti crines, their twisted hair, curly hair, and posita, and because it's situated contra Hispania, it's positioned across from Spain. Hiberos veteres, we're talking accusative plural here. The old, what would you call these people? Iberians or something. Iberians. Traecarese. They had crossed enclitic qui, and these seats, or these are their houses basically, so occupasse, and because they live in, they occupy these this land, these seds, faciunt, they make this fidem, trustworthy. Proximi Gallus, so it's proximate to the Gauls, or it's nearby the Gauls, and simile sunt, they're similar to them. Cu, this is either or, when it takes one word or a very short sentence. So the durante originis vi, so this is the enduring force, we've got ablative, of the origins. Cu, that's the other or because of procurrentibus in diversa terras, because this is the lands are running in different directions, because this is where they're facing. Posito cale, so they basically have the same climate, because these lands are near each other and the opposite lands are going in different directions and they meet and have the same climate, and this dedit gives to their habitum this appearance corporibus. This is a plural for the bodies there, gives them the same appearance of a body. In universum, tamen nevertheless, universally, aestimanti, this is a plural for plural people are estimating. Gallos vicanum insum, a nearby island, credibile est. So the credibile est is taking the infinitive. So it's believable that, in our thinking universally, that the Gauls had occupied a nearby island. So there'd be some island in the Gulf between Gaul and Britain, probably. Eorum sacra deprehendas, for you can comprehend the same sacraments and superstitionem persuasiones, and the same superstitious persuasions or beliefs. So this Vicinum Insulum, that's actually talking about Britain, was the nearby island close to Gaul that they grabbed, and they have the same sacraments and religions and superstitions. Sermo hord multum diversus. The sermo is hord multum, not much. Diversus, not much difference. So the conversations or the way of talking is not much difference. That'd be the language. In de poscendis. Looks like they're using a gerund here. Periculis iandem audacia. So they have a boldness, an audacia, in demanding dangerous things, or they like to take on dangerous things, and ubi ad venere, and when it adveneres, when it happens, when it turns up, this danger, in detractandis. You can see they're using the same sort of language here of a gerundive. Eadem formino, which is, they have the same dread in getting away from this danger. So they seem to court danger, but when it happens, they have the same dread of trying to escape it. Plus tamen ferocie Britanniae. So ferocie Britanniae, these are in appositions, is the nominative. So nevertheless, they're more ferocious, the Britons, preferunt, means in front. So they're more outstanding in their ferocity than the Gauls are, the Britons. Ut quas, as quas, they are those, nondum, who have not yet, immoleriet, been softened, and then we have the ablative phrase here, longa paxa, by a long peace, or long times of peace. Nam Gallos, for the Gauls, quoque also, floral we say in bellis, they flourished in wars, acceptamus, we accept this, we readily accept that the Gauls also had flourished in war. Mox sagnitia, soon a sluggishness, cum otio, with leisure, introverted, entered. Amissa, something female was lost. Virtute, so virtus is one of about 10 words that have virtus, they have us, but they are female in the third declension. So they lost their valour, parata equally, that's the adverb, and libertate. So they lost their valour and their spirit, but also their freedom equally. Quod Britannorum. So of the Britons, olum victus, who had once been beaten, are evenit. Quod. So this had happened to those Britons who had once been beaten, and Caterai, the rest, menet, they remained, quales, such as the type, fuerent, as had been the Gauls. So, yeah, the conquered ones become very soft, but the rest remain with that strong spirit. In pedite robor, in their foot soldiers, robur is their strength. There's no est or sunt there. Quaedam nationes, these are nominative, plural. There are certain nations, et also, caro, in a chariot, proliantor. Prolio is the word for battle, so there are certain of these tribes that they have wage their battles from chariots. Honestior or rigor, clientes propugnant. So honestior is a comparative, so the aurigas, the chariot drivers, have the more honest or honoured position, and the clientes, these are the underlings, they propugnant, they're the ones who do the fighting. Olim regibus parabant. So they're saying once upon a time they obeyed, and pario takes the dative or ablative here, which is regibus. So once they obeyed the kings. Nunc per principes, and now through princes or chiefs, we've got into ablative dative plural again. Factionibus in studies trahunta. They're given over, dragged over by influence into factions, and with zeal or enthusiasm for some of these chieftains. Nec aliud adversus validissimus, that's a superlative. So neither is anything against the most strongest gentis races, pro nobis, for us, utilius, another comparative, which is more useful for us, quam quod, than quod, which in commune, quad's just taking this neuter form here. So they do not take their plans, they do not have counsels in common. So we can use that for our advantage. Rarus, so that's rare. Duobus tribus v, v's the enclitic, means or. Rarely will 2 or 3 civitatibus. Rarely with 2 or 3 these civilizations or these tribes is it rare that they add propulsandum, this is the accusative gerund, to the propulsion, so the expelling, communes, in common, periculum, conventus. So that's another past passive, means they've come together. So rarely, rarus conventus, these have both got us at the end. So rarely do you have 2 or 3 of these little tribes coming in together for a common danger to repulse it. Ita, thus, singuli pugnant. So thus they fight one by one. And universi vincuntur. You can see that means that's plural. So they fight one tribe at a time, but universally they are conquered by this method because they don't work together. Caelum, the sky. Cribus imbribus. The sky is with frequent raining. Ac and nebulus fodum. And is foul with nebula, with clouds basically. So you have the rain and the clouds. Asperitas, that's the harshness of frigor, harshness of cold, abest is away. So they don't have very harsh coldness. Dirum spatia ultra nostrae orbis mensurum. The spacing of the day, or probably where the daylight happens, is beyond measurement to our world. Nox clara, so they have clear nights as they're in apposition, and the extrema parte, and in will take with the ablative. So the furthest parts, Britanniae, genitive, of Britain, is brevus, is short. So the night's clear, and at the furthest part of Britain, it's very short. Ut finem and initium, and the ending and the beginning, lucus, of light, into noscas. You can discern, you can distinguish, exiguo discrimine. This looks like it's taking ablative again, for this is a very small turning point, basically, between the ending and the beginning. Quod si nubes, because if the clouds are non-efficient, not doing their duty, so if there's no clouds, aspici, to see per noctem through the night the fulgorem of the sun. So you can see through the night the shining of the sun. Neither occidere and exurgere, and neither will it set or rise, sed transiri, but it just crosses through at ferment. They affirm. So if there's not cloudy, you can see the sun going through the night. I guess that's something to do with the seasons and how far north it is. Scilicet, so obviously, extrema in plane terrarum. So the furthestness and the flatness of the earth. Humili umbra, we've got this in ablative, so with the low-lying shadows or darkness, because of the extremity and the flatness of the earth, non irrigunt tenebras, so they don't cast up shadows, infrequi, and below calum, below the heavens, and sidera, and the stars, nox cadit. Nox is the nominative. So night falls below the heavens and the stars. Solum, the soil, praeter, besides, oleam vitemque, oil and vines, or olives and vines, or whatever that is, and cetera, and the rest of things, caloribus terris, ablative plurals, oriri suita. So that's the female version of cetera. So the rest of the things accustomed to arise in the warmer lands, patiens, here's our present participle nominative, it allows, so the soil besides these things and the rest of things which are accustomed to happen in warmer territories, it allows frugum, which are crops, and pecadum, and these are like your herds, fecundum, fecundus, so the bountiful flocks. Tarde miscunt, so slowly they mature or ripen, and cito, quickly proveniunt, and quickly they sprout up. Iadem qui, utrius qui, re causa. This is causa, which is the post-positive, so the cause of the matter is the same, utrius qui, to both of them. Multus or more, there's a lot of moisture of the land, caliqui, and the heavens of the sky. So there's a lot of moisture, and that's the same reason. Fert Britannia. So Britannia bears aurum and argentum, gold and silver, et alia metallal, and other metals. Pretium. This is a reward or a price, genitive, of victory. This is the reward for the victory, is the gold and silver and other metals. Mines are actually called after the word metal. And we're almost done. Gignant. And is born et also oceanus. Here's a nominative. The ocean also gives birth to margarita, which are pearls. Sed sub fusca and liventia. This is to do with the colouring. Sub fusca is a cloudy darkness, and liventia is the word for envy. It also can mean it's got lead in it, and it's also a bluish colour. Quidam. Certain people, artem abesse legentibus arbitrantur. So certain people, arbitrantur, they think the art of picking abesse is the way. So these people don't really have a good art at picking pearls. For in rubro mare, for in the Red Sea, in with the ablative, viva inspirantia, they are living and breathing, avelli, they are plucked away, saxis, from the rocks, or the shell it could possibly mean. In Britannia, so in Britain, prout, just as expulsus sin, that's a subjunctive, so just as they might be expulsed, chucked out by the ocean, colligi, they are collected. Ego facilius, I could more easily, crederum, taking up this ego again, I could believe more easily the nature of these pearls to be dsa, to be desum, to be lacking, so the nature or the quality of these pearls is lacking, rather than quam nobis avaritiam, than our greed.